3 kilometers up. A mysterious note. 41 lives in my hands. After extorting $200,000, he jumped out of the plane and then disappeared. 53 years have passed. Is he alive or dead? Where did the money go? The FBI invests heavily in investigations. More than 800 suspects were lost to the sea. On the afternoon of November 24, 1971, Portland International Airport, a man who looks to be in his 40s. Go to the ticket counter. Shout $20 in cash. Bought a one-way ticket to Seattle. Northwest Eastern Airlines Flight 305. Flight time is 30 minutes. The name he wrote on the boarding pass was Dan Cooper. Then the media got it wrong. Call him D.B. Cooper. The wrong name became a legend instead. This man looks very ordinary. Black business suit. White shirt, black tie, neatly combed hair. It's the kind of airport you're in. At any airport, you can see dozens of business people. 2:50 p.m. Boeing 727 takes off on time. There were 36 passengers on board, 6 crew members. Everything seemed normal. Cooper is sitting in the last row of the 18th seaplane, middle seat on the right. After takeoff, he ordered a bourbon and soda and gave the stewardess a $1 tip. In 1971, that was a lot of money. And he handed a piece of paper, a note to a passing flight attendant, Flossafina. To be honest, the flight attendant received a note from a male passenger, not surprising at all. Sofina slipped the note into her pocket. Didn't take it seriously, but Cooper insisted. He whispered, "Miss, you better look at that note." Sofina opens the note. It says in neat handwriting, "I have a bomb. I want you to sit next to me." When you see this text, Sofina felt her blood clot. At 30,000 feet, the stewardess can only pretend to be calm. Sitting next to the hijacker, Cooper opens the briefcase. Inside is a red cylinder. Looks like dynamite, and a bunch of wires and batteries. He quickly closed the bag, start making requests. First he asked the airline, $200,000 in cash for him. They're all discontinuous $20 bills. Secondly, for parachutes must be prepared. 2 main umbrellas, 2 spare umbrellas. And finally, enough fuel to fly to Mexico. Throughout the process, Cooper is very calm. As if not a robber. It was a gentleman who was hitting on a flight attendant. He wore a graceful smile from start to finish. Softly comforting the flight attendant. Say you won't hurt anyone. Captain William Scott received the report. Contact the Seattle Tower immediately. The FBI intervened while the plane was still in the air. They gave the case a codename No Jack. Northwest hijacking. To prepare the ransom and parachute, Flight 305 over Seattle. Hovering for an hour and a half, the plane finally landed at 5:39 p.m. at Seattle-Tacoma International Airport. Was directed to a remote parking lot. The FBI is also not slow. $200,000 already. All $20 bills without consecutive numbers. In a canvas bag, weighs 21 pounds. The smart thing is, they secretly memorized, recorded the serial numbers of all banknotes, a total of 10,000. For parachutes are also ready. But something went wrong here. Whoever provided the parachutes thought they were for training. Gave a training umbrella that had been sewn to death. Stewardess Tina Muklo was in charge of getting these things on the plane. Cooper checked the money and the parachute. Then keep the promise. All 36 passengers and 2 flight attendants were released. Many passengers disembarked from the plane. Don't know what happened yet. They just think it's weird. Why a 30-minute flight? Stopped in Seattle for so long. Only the captain and co-pilot. Flight engineer and flight attendant Tina Muklo stayed on the plane. While waiting for refueling, Cooper and Muklo had a long chat. Muklo later recalled that Cooper looks normal. Even a little friendly. He told him not to be afraid. And he said something very strange. It's not because I have a grudge against your airline. You just happen to be at the right time. Appear in the right place. 7:36 p.m. after a nearly 2-hour stay. Flight 305 took off again. This time Cooper gave very specific flight instructions. The altitude of the aircraft cannot exceed 10,000 feet. That's about 3 kilometers. Keep the speed at 200 knots. Landing gear down. Flap hold 15 degrees. All cabin lights off. Airplane friends should know. This is a Boeing 727 minimum speed configuration to maintain stable flight. It is also the most suitable configuration for skydiving. The destination is Mexico City. But everyone knows, at this speed and configuration, the plane never made it to Mexico. You have to make a stop in Reno, Nevada. Come on. Cooper also agreed to such a request. Cooper asked to open the rear hatch before takeoff. When told, when a plane cannot take off with an open door, he asked Muklo to teach him how to open it in the air. The Boeing 727 has a special design. The rear hatch has a built-in staircase. It comes down mid-flight. This was rare in airliners at the time. Later, the CIA even used this design. Secret mission in Vietnam. Cooper, keep all the crew in the cockpit. Close the curtain. Don't come out. Only 5 minutes after departure at 7:41 p.m. Cooper, get Muklo back in the cockpit. When Muklo last saw him, he is standing in the middle of the aisle, as if preparing for something. Around 8 p.m., the cockpit warning light is on. The rear hatch is open. The crew asked Cooper over the walkie-talkie if he needed help. He just replied faintly, "No need." That was the last time they heard Cooper's voice. At 8:13 p.m., the plane suddenly warped slightly. It's like suddenly losing weight. The plane was flying over southwest Washington state at the time. It's -7 degrees outside. It's raining. Wind speeds approaching 200 knots. Cooper, that's it, carrying a canvas bag with $200,000. Maybe with another parachute. Go down the built-in stairs. Jumped into the dark storm. PM flight lands in Reno. After FBI agents rushed onto the plane, the hatch was wide open. The stairs are slightly damaged. Cooper is gone. What he left behind is pitiful. A black tie. A tie clip. 8 cigarette butts. 2 parachutes. He took the money, the briefcase, and 2 parachutes, including the training umbrella that was sewn to death. The FBI immediately unfolded the history of the United States. One of the largest search operations. Depending on the flight path and skydiving time, they narrowed the search. Locked in southwest Washington state. It was a huge primeval forest. It's full of towering trees and rugged mountains. By the end of November, many places had been covered with snow. Helicopter aircraft ground search team. The FBI used all its resources. The search continued for several weeks. I didn't find anything. New corpse. There's no parachute. No money, no sign of Cooper's existence. The FBI started tracking the $200,000, the 10,000 serial number of a bill, distributed to bank stores across the country. It was in the papers. Northwest Airlines and several newspapers even offered bounties. Can anyone find a bill with a matching serial number? You'll get a bonus. But 9 years have passed. None of those bills appeared. February 1980. Columbia River. 8-year-old Brian Ingram and his family picnic on the river beach. Little boy digging a hole in the sand. Suddenly dug up something. It was 3 bundles of disfigured banknotes that had rotted away. Brian's parents recognized it as money. Report to the FBI now. Tested. The serial numbers match perfectly. This is Cooper's ransom. A total of $5,800. And this got everybody excited. Finally got a lead on Cooper for the first time in 9 years. But after the excitement, so here's the problem. How did the money get here? Look at the map and you will find the money was found far from the presumed landing point. And the strangest thing is, the Columbia River flows in the opposite direction. Money can't get here downstream. And here's what's even weirder. All 3 bundles of money were found in the same place. If it fell from the sky and drifted with the water, how could it be so coincidental? The 2009 experiment revealed that rubber bands for bundling money in outdoor environments can't last a year, will break. But when Brian found the money, the rubber band is still intact. This means the money was buried in the sand a year ago. The most likely explanation is, someone deliberately buried the money there. Was it Cooper himself or the person who found Cooper's body? Nobody knows. The FBI's on the beach again. Dig for a long time, except for this $5,800. I didn't find anything. The remaining $194,200 is still unaccounted for. Over the years, the FBI investigated more than 800 suspects. Nice Christensen. Northwest Airlines employees. 45-year-old former paratrooper. Left-handed because in the memory of flight attendants, Cooper opened the briefcase with his left hand. Therefore, the police have always suspected that he was left-handed. Shortly after Cooper hijacked the plane, he bought a house out of nowhere. Before death, he said to his brother, "There's something you should know. But I can't tell you." After his death, his family found $200,000 in his account. But here's the thing. He is shorter than the eyewitness description of Cooper. And thinner. He sold the $200,000. Well documented. Richard Floyd, Mike, I. This guy's the funniest. 4 months after Cooper's amputation, and he does it almost exactly the same way. Hijacked another Boeing 727 fake grenade, threatening handwritten notes for $500,000 and for parachutes. Escaped by parachuting out the back door. Unfortunately, his luck was not very good. Broke his leg after skydiving. Arrested by the police who arrived. But his size and voice? Completely different from the Cooper in the flight attendant's memory. At the same time, with the advance of technology, the FBI scrutinized the tie Cooper left behind. A lot of metal particles were found on it, especially pure titanium. In 1971, there were very few places where pure titanium could be accessed. Some Boeing chemical plant or railroad yard. This suggests that Cooper may not be an ordinary person. He may have worked in these places. The tie clip is clipped from the left. It also confirms the possibility that he is left-handed. Unfortunately, I lost all 8 of Cooper's cigarettes. It must have his DNA on it. If it still exists, today's technology may be able to solve crimes. And there's one more detail. The unique design of the Boeing 737, the rear hatch has a built-in staircase, can be dropped during flight. Few airliners at the time had this design. CIA in the Vietnam War is to use a Boeing 727 to drop agents and supply rear doors. Flying a plane at a low altitude and slow speed, the agent jumped straight down the stairs. Cooper obviously knows this. The altitude of the flight, the speed, the rib angle, totally textbook skydiving configuration. This means he either works in the aviation industry or have a military background, or both. After Cooper hijacked the plane, Boeing put a device on all 727s. Make the rear hatch unable to open during flight. The official name of this device is very long, but they call it the Cooper blade. From this perspective, Cooper really did leave his mark on history, although it may not be the kind he wants. In 2016, the FBI officially closed its investigation into the case, but the private investigation never stopped. In 2020, an investigator named Eric claimed that he found where Cooper landed. He used a new analytical method, combining weather data and flight paths at the time. Changed the search scope, narrowed down to a specific area of Washington state. But so far, still haven't found any physical evidence. November 2024, a new FBI document has been released. It mentioned some details that had not been disclosed before. For example, witnesses saw a parachute in the air that night, but the FBI didn't take it seriously at the time. This has sparked a new round of discussion and search. Some people use modern technology to solve crimes. Teams use artificial intelligence, analyze all eyewitness accounts. Trying to restore Cooper's true appearance, someone used satellite imagery. Scan for possible landing areas. Some even want to use environmental DNA technology. From Cooper, DNA was extracted from his thigh. But to this day, B.P. Cooper remains a mystery. But the pony thought he was probably dead. First, let's analyze the weather for Cooper's parachute jump. Altitude 3 kilometers. The temperature is -7 degrees. Wind speed of 200 knots on rainy days. Visibility is almost zero. Below is a dense virgin forest, and Cooper was wearing a business suit when he skydived. Leather shoes, trench coat. It's an intact parachute. It's sewn up. And a purse of about 9.5 kilograms. In this case, even the world's top skydivers. It's not foolproof. And his remains, most likely by some beast in the forest, caught in his own cave. Another piece of evidence is that, if he is lucky enough to survive, why the money? Why has it never flowed in the market? Of course it is also possible. Now Cooper, who is old enough, is watching the show. Look at us lovers. The blind chicken analyzed it here. Isn't that the fun of mysteries? Break through the fog, see the truth, look for clues in various reports. Trying to crack geniuses decades apart. Whimsy in the head. Maybe someday after that, a nurse in a nursing home, a child who has lost his father, will stand up and say, "Hey, I know who B.P. Cooper is."